Today we're gonna make lamb curry. It's gonna be very special. There are lots of ingredients in the lamb curry. Our goal today is going to be to make not just the best tasting lamb curry, but also we're gonna make the most potent, inflammation fighting and fat burning curry. Now, to start with, why we choose lamb? Lamb it's a very special because the lamb comes from New Zealand. It's grass-fed. It's never been introduced to any grains. That's why we go with grass-fed lamb from New Zealand. This is so important that it's actually mentioned in Genesis in chapter 1 in verse 29 and 30 when the Creator decides what food we should eat, we as people and also the animals. Greens are so important. They should be at least 50% of all the food that we consume. So the amount of protein today in the lamb is going to be about 20%. Let's get started. We have the grill ready to go, and the lamb comes on a hot skillet. It is delicious. It is delicious. Now, while we're browning the lamb, we're gonna focus on something very important here. We're gonna need some really amazing, top quality tomatoes. Tomatoes that come from Italy, and called San Marzano, product of Italy. The best potatoes you can find, the best tomatoes you can find on the market. However, tomatoes also come with lots of water. The amount of water in tomatoes is pretty, very high. So, long time ago, when I was a kid, I asked my father. I said, "Dad, why are you drinking wine with your dinner? Why don't you drink water?" My dad said, "Son, water is only good for flowers. So we're going to take the water out of the tomatoes and we're going to replace it with something amazing. We're going to replace the water in tomato with bone broth." Bone broth is very special and is the most important ingredient together with turmeric and coconut oil. The bone broth is inflammation fighting, and it comes from grass-fed animals. Today we're going to choose to use chicken bone broth. It takes about 24 hours to make an excellent bone broth. So since I'm working, so I don't have 24 hours to make a bone broth at home. It takes so much energy and so much time to find the best bones and to simmer in the kitchen for 24 hours on a low heat of 130 Fahrenheit. So my best option is to go with Kettle and Fire. Kettle and Fire are in California, and they make an amazing variety of bone broths from grass-fed beef bones, also chicken, and variety of soups. So I use them in my cooking, but I also drink them just sipping instead of coffee. Bone broth. Now, the time for this water to evaporate for the tomatoes, so we're going to increase the heat a little bit. So we're going to get some little bit, we're going to increase the time. Make sure we don't burn this, okay? It's going to take some time for the water to evaporate. In the meantime, we're going to check our lamb. Alright, the tomatoes are doing really good for now. Once we remove all the water from the tomatoes, as I said, we're going to replace them with bone broth. Let's check what's going on with our lamb. We would like to achieve a browning effect here on the lamb. So the heat is pretty high, and by now they should be browned on one side. Ooh, that looks awesome. Our lamb is really happy. Between 5 and 10 times the amount of conjugated linoleic acid, CLA. It's a cancer-fighting chemical that can only be found in grass-fed beef, grass-fed lamb, grass-fed bison, conjugated linoleic acid, it's impossible to be manufactured or encapsulated. It has to come from the grass-fed animal directly, because it's very, very important in your diet. You can Google conjugated linoleic acid or CLA, and probably the best articles on CLA I found online would be from Dr. Mercola. Besides conjugated linoleic acid, the amount of omega-3 in grass-fed meat, grass-fed beef, grass-fed lamb, is about 5 to 10 times above the normal, which is fantastic. That's why we're using lamb. Now, after this browning takes effect, we're going to reduce the heat pretty soon on the lamb, and the lamb is going to continue cooking in a low heat until it's fully cooked. Later on, we're going to use the lamb in our lamb curry. Every curry starts with amazing coconut oil. Not every, but mine starts with coconut oil. That's very important. Coconut oil is simply the best option when it comes on reducing inflammation in your body. So I'm using coconut oil, and quite often use real butter, grass-fed butter from Kerrygold, from the island. Now the lamb is from New Zealand, and that's also very important. It's a grass-fed lamb. Let's see how we're doing here with our coconut oil. Okay, there's great amount of coconut oil here. Okay, we're gonna add the onions now. Ooh, they're already happy. Look at that. The onions already. We're gonna have also quite amount of water in them, so we make sure that that they are fully cooked. Actually, we want to see that golden brown color on the onions. Now they're already happy. You can see that. You don't want to overheat the onions, because you're going to burn them. So you have to give them some time so they cook and they become golden brown. You're going to enjoy every bite of it. Now I can see over here that my tomatoes are pretty happy. However, I don't think this is going to be enough bone broth, and we need to add some more because we want to have the right consistency. We're cooking today for at least 6 people, maybe 8 people. So what we're going to do next, we're going to add some more bone broth here. Our amazing kettle and fire. Thank you so much for this 24-hour bone broth, because the life is so busy that I really don't have time to make bone broth. I used to make it for 6 years when my son was sick and Max was actually dependent on bone broth daily. We would buy the bones and the chicken and the beef, and we would make our own bone broth. That was 6 years until we discovered kettle and fire. So that's why I'm so excited that I don't have to make the bone broth myself anymore. Now the tomatoes are very happy swimming here, and the onions are getting very, very happy. I enjoy the sizzling of the onions. All right, that looks pretty good. So here we are. Our onions look pretty good. They're all nice and yellow, caramelized. This is the best time for us to add the ingredients that are so important. We're gonna go with some garlic paste, a liberate amount of garlic paste, and in our onions, make such a huge difference in the taste. We're gonna add some ginger. We're adding some ginger paste as well. And let's see if this camera can catch it perfectly. All right, we're gonna put 2 big spoons of ginger. I love the garlic and the ginger, and we're gonna stir it. Oh, such a happy onions. Now every curry requires some basic ingredients. See? Oh, there's something that I forgot to do. Look, I forgot my cinnamon sticks and my cardamom. So let's make sure they cook nicely here. All right, perfect. The flavor of the cardamom and it's gonna make such a great difference. I love that. Already smells fantastic. Now, the most potent powder or herb that we're using here is our turmeric. So we're gonna add a liberal amount of turmeric because when it comes to inflammation, turmeric does something amazing. You see, when we see obesity, inflammation, which are very closely related, it's not a disease that you develop because of lack of character or lack of exercise or lack of discipline. It's actually lifestyle driven because we don't have time for real food. Real food comes from green pastures, green gardens, and green orchards. Once again, real food comes from green gardens, green orchards, and green pastures. So if the lamb, the beef, the bison are not grass-fed, they're not coming from green pastures. So they're not going to make a difference in your inflammation fighting efforts. That's why we're using lamb from New Zealand. Now, most important part over here is definitely our bone broth. Bone broth is the most potent inflammation fighting ingredient that we're using in all of our recipes. My grandmother, if you read my books, and in Keto for Kids, in the book Keto for Kids, my grandmother Rebecca, she used to work in a children's hospital, and she was using bone broth in all of her recipes for the children that were hospitalized, that were on a long-term care. It was the most important way of their diet. Now, of course, what's coming next over here, it's our, we already seen the packaging, our curry powder mix. And we have an amount that I find to be appropriate. I think this is perfect. Okay, we're gonna do some more chicken broth here. Not chicken broth, bone broth. That's a difference. Chicken broth is a flavored water. Bone broth is something different. It's like a liquid gold. So here we are. This is gonna get perfectly mixed. And the flavors are just coming through as amazing. Now I like it spicy, so I'm gonna use red chili, extra hot red chili powder here to spice up my curry. That's great. Now don't forget that over here we have our tomatoes that we cooked already, and we replace the water with bone broth. Here we are. Here we come. Ooh, that's gonna be awesome. How do you like that, huh? All right. Look how happy it is. Our curry is going to be really, really, really happy. Now, it's not going to be the real deal unless we spice it with sea salt. You can choose the amount of sea salt you use in your recipe. Depends how much liquid you use and for how many people you cook. But this curry already looks amazing. Now all we have to do at this point is add our amazing lamb that we already cooked before, and now it's going to be very, very happy to swim in this wonderful curry we're making today. This is inflammation fighting, fat burning, 100% ketogenic recipe. We have zero sugar. We have about 20% of protein, and the rest is mostly fat. Now that's what a ketogenic diet really it's all about. About 20% proteins comes from meat, and about close to zero sugar, maybe 20-30 grams maximum per day, and the rest is fat, all good fat from coconut oil, from butter. Oh, look at that. Grass-fed butter, only grass-fed butter. Oh my goodness, that's gonna be delicious. Now, let's all these flavors mix together so we can have the full result. All we have to do at the top of this is just use some cilantro or parsley to bring the flavors up before we serve, and that's gonna make it. We have the best tasting and the most potent lamb curry, and this is the way we fight inflammation in our home. And try it. It might change your life. We love you. Welcome to Fat Burning Nation with Oscar Levski. You can find my blog at sugaranonymous.org. Also go to my YouTube channel, which is fatburningnation.tv, for more videos and more details. Thank you. God bless you, and I love you.